The human slammed his fist on the Zanari Council table, the thud echoing through the shocked silence. "Earth is off limits," Nicholas Phillips growled, his eyes flashing with barely contained rage. "If you think you can just waltz in and conquer us, you're in for a rude awakening." The council chamber erupted into a flurry of angry murmurs and hostile stares. The audacity of this lone human, daring to interrupt their meeting and make demands, was unheard of. High Commander Theros rose from his seat, his voice dripping with disdain. "You dare threaten us, human? We are the Zanari Galactic Council. We have conquered countless worlds. What makes you think your primitive little planet can stand against us?" Nicholas smiled coldly. "Oh, I don't think. I know. See, while you were busy underestimating us, we were busy preparing. As we speak, our hidden defense platforms have locked onto your ship. One wrong move, and you'll be nothing but space dust." The counselors shifted uneasily, a flicker of doubt crossing their faces. Could the human be bluffing, or had they truly underestimated Earth's capabilities? Theros' eyes narrowed. "You're playing a dangerous game, human. Even if what you say is true, you're just one planet. We have the might of an entire galactic empire behind us." Nicholas leaned forward, his voice low and menacing. "And we have powerful allies. Races that you've wronged in the past. They're more than happy to stand with us against you. Oh, and those ships of yours? We've been shadowing them with our cloaked vessels. We know your every move before you even make it." The room fell silent, the tension palpable. The counselors glanced at each other, uncertain of how to proceed. If the human was telling the truth, they could be walking into a trap, but backing down now would make them look weak. Theros slammed his fist on the table, his face contorted with rage. "This isn't over, human. The council will discuss our next steps, but know this, we will not be intimidated by your threats." Nicholas shrugged, a smirk playing on his lips. "Do what you must, but remember, if you come for Earth, we will respond with a force unlike anything you've ever seen. We will defend our world at all costs." With that, the human turned and strode out of the chamber, leaving a stunned council in his wake. The fate of two civilizations now hung in the balance as the Zanari plotted their next move and the humans prepared for war. One thing was certain, the galaxy would never be the same again. Nicholas's heart raced as he navigated the corridors of the Human Defense Headquarters deep beneath the surface of Earth. The weight of his confrontation with the Zanari Council pressed on his shoulders, a constant reminder of the dire situation they now faced. He burst into the main strategy room where Admiral James Matheson and the other Defense Council members were already gathered around a holographic display of Earth's solar system. "Admiral, we need to act fast," Nicholas said, his voice tight with urgency. "The Zanari won't take this lying down. They'll be coming for us with everything they've got." Matheson nodded grimly, his weathered face etched with lines of commitment. "We've already set our plans in motion. The hidden defense platforms are powering up as we speak, and our cloaked fleet is converging on Earth's orbit." The room buzzed with activity as officers relayed orders and coordinated the massive mobilization effort. Nicholas stared at the holographic display, watching as the glowing dots representing their hidden assets blinked to life one by one. Far across the galaxy, on the Zanari homeworld, High Commander Theros paced before his assembled military leaders. His eyes blazed with barely contained fury as he smacked his head on the table. "The humans have made a grave mistake," he snarled. "They think they can humiliate us and get away with it. We'll show them the true might of the Zanari Empire." The Zanari generals nodded in agreement, their faces twisted with vindictive dedication. They huddled around a tactical display, plotting their revenge. "We'll strike at their colonies first," Theros declared. "Weaken them before we go for their homeworld. They won't know what hit them." A Zanari spy materialized from the shadows, bowing before the High Commander. "My lord, our agents have intercepted human communications. We've located a major colony on the planet Astoria." Theros' eyes gleamed with malicious satisfaction. "Excellent. Prepare the fleet. We strike immediately." In the blink of an eye, a massive Zanari fleet emerged from hyperspace above Astoria, catching the human defenders completely off guard. The colony's early warning systems barely had time to sound the alarm before the first plasma bolts rained down from orbit. The ground shuddered as the Zanari bombardment intensified, turning the once thriving colony into a fiery hellscape. Human defense turrets returned fire, their shots merely glancing off the Zanari ship's advanced shielding. Panicked civilians ran for their lives as Zanari dropships descended from the sky, disgorging hordes of heavily armed troops. The human militia fought bravely, but they were hopelessly outmatched. On Earth, news of the attack sent shockwaves through the population. The Astoria colony represented the shining jewel of humanity's expansion into space, a symbol of their progress and ingenuity. Its fall would be a devastating blow to morale. In the defense headquarters, Admiral Matheson gripped the edge of the holographic table, his fingers tightening. "They've forced our hand," he growled. "This is open war now." Nicholas stepped forward, his voice steely with tenacity. "Admiral, let me lead a rescue mission to Astoria. We can't abandon our people." Matheson hesitated for a moment, then nodded curtly. "Take our most advanced warships. Get as many survivors out as you can." As Nicholas raced to the hangar bay, he silently prayed they weren't too late. The fate of Astoria and its colonists now rested on his shoulders. The scene above Astoria was one of utter devastation. The once pristine domes of the colony lay shattered, their interiors exposed to the vacuum of space. Bodies floated among the debris, the lifeless remains of those who couldn't reach the escape pods in time. Nicholas's fleet emerged from hyperspace, the sleek human warships a stark contrast to the twisted wreckage. Zanari fighters immediately swarmed to intercept them, their plasma cannons spitting deadly fire. "Engage the enemy!" Nicholas barked into the comm system. "Buy time for the evacuation ships." The human vessels returned fire, their advanced targeting systems locking onto the Zanari fighters. Explosions blossomed in the void as the two sides clashed in a desperate dance of destruction. Nicholas led a team of elite Marines in a daring assault on the planet's surface, their dropships weaving through the chaos of the orbital battle. They touched down amidst the ruins of the colony's main settlement, the once bustling streets now choked with rubble and the bodies of the fallen. Zanari troops swarmed through the shattered buildings, mercilessly gunning down any survivors they encountered. Nicholas and his Marines fought their way through the maelstrom, their weapons spitting plasma as they tried to reach the huddled groups of terrified colonists. "Get to the evac ships," Nicholas yelled over the din of battle. "We'll cover you." Just as all seemed lost, a miracle arrived in the form of a fleet of cloaked ships. The alien vessels shimmered into existence, catching the Zanari completely by surprise. Their powerful energy weapons sliced through the Zanari fleet, turning the tide of battle in an instant. Nicholas watched in amazement as the alien ships tore through the Zanari ranks, their advanced technology far surpassing anything he had ever seen. With the pressure relieved, he and his Marines redoubled their efforts to evacuate the remaining colonists. As the last transport lifted off, carrying the battered and traumatized survivors, Nicholas couldn't help but feel a sense of bittersweet victory. They had saved lives, but the cost had been high. Astoria was lost, and the Zanari would undoubtedly be out for blood. The rescued colonists huddled together on the cramped evacuation ships, their faces haunted by the horrors they had witnessed. Nicholas made his way through the crowded decks, offering words of comfort where he could. As they fled the system, the remnants of the colony shrinking behind them, Nicholas knew this was only the beginning. Earth would now face the full might of the Zanari war machine, and they would need every ally and every weapon at their disposal to survive. The interstellar war had begun, and the fate of humanity hung in the balance. Nicholas stared out at the stars, his eyes hardened with dedication. They would fight to the last, and they would make the Zanari pay dearly for every inch of ground. The news of Astoria's fall hit Earth like a shockwave. Panic gripped the streets as footage of the devastation played on every screen. Admiral Matheson wasted no time. His voice boomed through the command center. "All hands to battle stations. This is not a drill." Nicholas found himself thrust into action, leading a team of Earth's most elite soldiers to key strategic points across the globe. They raced against time, fortifying defenses and readying weapon systems that had lain dormant for years. "Move it, people!" Nicholas barked as his squad secured a hidden missile silo in the Rocky Mountains. "The Zanari could be here any minute." Meanwhile, in the depths of space, High Commander Theros surveyed his assembled armada. Thousands of Zanari warships stretched as far as the eye could see, their hulls gleaming with malice. "The humans think they can defy us?" Theros sneered. "We'll crush them like insects." Back on Earth, Admiral Matheson huddled with the High Command. "It's time," he said gravely. "Initiate the Mjolnir Protocol." Encrypted signals burst from Earth's communication arrays, reaching out to distant stars. The Zanari detected the surge in transmissions, but couldn't crack the code. Theros paced on his flagship's bridge. "What are they planning?" he snarled. "Send in the infiltrators. We'll cripple them before they can act." Cloaked Zanari ships slipped past Earth's outer defenses, deploying strike teams to key military installations. They struck with surgical precision, years of planning behind each attack. Nicholas got the alert while inspecting a naval yard in San Diego. "Infiltrators at Cheyenne Mountain. All units respond." He and his team raced to intercept, their transport screaming through the night sky. They touched down amid chaos, human soldiers trading fire with shadowy figures wielding familiar weapons. "Those are our guns!" a soldier shouted as plasma bolts sizzled past. Nicholas's mind raced. They must have gotten them from Astoria. Push forward. The battle raged through underground corridors, neither side giving ground. Nicholas spotted a Zanari transport prepping for takeoff and made a split-second decision. "New plan, we're taking that ship." In a daring assault, Nicholas and his squad stormed the transport, subduing the Zanari crew. They worked frantically to access the aliens' neural implants, sifting through data as alarms blared. Nicholas's face went pale as the Zanari battle plan unfolded before him. "We need to warn Command. Now." As Earth's leaders absorbed the terrifying news, Admiral Matheson made the call. "Accelerate Mjolnir. It's our only hope." High above the planet, space itself seemed to ripple. Massive ships materialized from nowhere, Earth's secret allies revealing themselves at last. The combined fleet dwarfed even the Zanari armada. Theros stared in disbelief at his tactical display. "Impossible!" Two mighty forces now faced each other across the void, Earth hanging in the balance between them. The final battle for humanity's future was about to begin. Admiral Matheson stared at the tactical display, his fists tight. The massive Zanari fleet loomed before them, a sea of hostile ships ready to obliterate Earth. "We can't let them reach our homeworld," he growled. "Nicholas, I need your team for a high-risk operation." Nicholas nodded grimly. "Whatever it takes, sir." They pored over the intel gleaned from the captured Zanari infiltrators. A faint signal stood out, the unique energy signature of Tharos's flagship. "There," Matheson pointed. "Take out their command, and this invasion crumbles." Nicholas assembled his strike team, a dozen of Earth's finest. They boarded a stealth shuttle, its hull dark and cold. "All right, people, we get one shot at this," Nicholas briefed them. "Failure means Earth burns." The shuttle slipped through the chaos of battle, cloaking tech, rendering it invisible. Massive energy blasts lit up space as the human fleet engaged the Zanari front lines. They latched onto Tharos's dreadnought, burning through the hull with plasma torches. Nicholas led the way, pulse rifle at the ready. "Move fast, stay quiet," he whispered. They ambushed the first group of Zanari guards, taking them down before they could raise the alarm. Nicholas grabbed a fallen alien's comm device. "Rodriguez, patch into their systems. Use this to sow some chaos." As they fought deeper into the ship, klaxons began to wail. Zanari troops poured into the corridors. "Sir, we're boxed in," a Marine shouted. Nicholas spotted a ventilation shaft. "Up there now!" They clambered inside as plasma bolts scorched the walls behind them. Nicholas tapped his earpiece. "Control, we need an assist. Shut down their internal defenses." Back on the human flagship, tech experts furiously worked to hijack the dreadnought systems. Lights flickered throughout the alien vessel as they gained access. Nicholas and his team burst onto the bridge, catching the Zanari off guard. In the midst of the firefight, he locked eyes with High Commander Theros. The two leaders charged at each other, exchanging brutal blows. Nicholas ducked under a vicious swing, countering with a strike to Theros' midsection. Just as Theros seemed to gain the advantage, pinning Nicholas to the ground, the rest of the strike team breached the command center. The odds evened as a furious gun battle erupted. "Wait!" Theros suddenly shouted, dodging a plasma bolt. "This isn't what you think!" Nicholas paused, his finger on the trigger. "What are you talking about?" "We've both been deceived," Theros panted. "This war, it's all a lie." The Zanari commander explained the coup, the rogue faction manipulating both sides into conflict. Nicholas's mind reeled. Could it be true? Or was this a desperate ploy? The ship rocked violently as explosions tore through the hull. Outside, the battle raged on. Earth hung in the balance. Nicholas had seconds to decide. Trust Theros and potentially save both civilizations, or eliminate the Zanari leadership and secure Earth's safety. His finger tightened on the trigger. Nicholas lowered his weapon, his pulse racing. "Everyone, hold your fire!" he shouted, his voice echoing across the bridge. The human soldiers exchanged uneasy glances but complied, their fingers hovering near triggers. Theros stepped forward, his alien features contorted with urgency. "Listen to me," he pleaded, his voice rasping. "This war, it's all based on lies." Nicholas's eyes narrowed. "Explain, now." As Theros spoke, the truth unfolded like a horrific tapestry. The Zanari commander described shadow operations, political assassinations, and a relentless march towards galactic domination. "We've been puppets," Theros said, his voice heavy with regret, "forced to play along or face execution." Nicholas felt the weight of the revelation settle in his gut. He turned to his team, seeing the same dawning realization on their faces. Before anyone could respond, alarms blared throughout the ship. The tactical display erupted with new contacts, a massive wave of missiles streaking towards the Allied fleet. "Incoming!" a human soldier yelled. The dreadnought shuddered as impacts rocked nearby ships. Through the viewports, Nicholas watched in horror as Allied vessels erupted into balls of fire. Suddenly, a deafening crash echoed through the hull. Warning klaxons screamed to life as a sickly green gas began seeping from a ruptured missile embedded in the ship's side. "Bioweapon!" Theros shouted, his eyes wide with terror. "We have minutes at most!" Nicholas made a split-second decision. "Everyone, evacuate now. Help the Zanari crew. We're all in this together." Human and Zanari soldiers alike scrambled for escape pods, the old hatred forgotten in the face of imminent death. Nicholas helped a wounded Zanari to his feet, practically carrying him to safety. As the last pod jettisoned, Nicholas watched the dreadnought disappear into the distance, knowing countless lives had just been snuffed out in an instant. The remnants of both fleets regrouped, a pitiful handful of ships compared to their former might. Admiral Matheson's voice crackled over the comms, heavy with defeat. "We've lost almost everything. Earth is under heavy bombardment." Nicholas clenched his fists as he watched the live feeds from Earth. Cities crumbled under orbital fire, while green clouds of bioweapons swept across continents. Years of human history and billions of lives were being erased before his eyes. "We can't stay here," Theros urged. "The militants will finish us off. We need to jump now." With heavy hearts, the battered fleet engaged their drives, leaving behind the smoldering remains of Earth. As they plunged into the unknown, Nicholas turned to Admiral Matheson. "Sir," he said, his voice tight with emotion, "I swear to you, we will take back what we've lost, no matter what it takes." Matheson nodded grimly. "The road ahead will be long and painful, son, but humanity will endure. We have to." As the stars streaked by outside, Nicholas stared into the void, his mind already plotting their next move. The war had only just begun.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.